Namaste and welcome. My name's Carley. I'm a yoga instructor and welcome to Yoga Flora, my online yoga channel. In today's class, we'll be exploring Yin Yoga. So Yin Yoga merges the traditions of Hatha Yoga, which originated in India, with the Yin-Yang philosophy of Chinese Taoism. So the yoga practices are blended with the ancient Chinese concept of using opposite forces to create balance. And so we apply this passive, calming yin energy through postures, breath work, and meditation, helping to counter the active, stimulating yang energy. And modern science suggests that even within our central nervous system, we have this sense of duality between the fast fight or flight response of the sympathetic nervous system versus the calming, restorative, and restful parasympathetic response. And we've all been in a point in our lives where maybe we've been too active, too busy, and we end up being stressed out or depleted physically, mentally, emotionally. And so I invite you to utilize the Yin Yoga practice today to really bring that harmony within your body, your mind, your spirit, so that you can strive toward a life of well-being and vitality and wholeness. So join me for this 60-minute practice. Be mindful of your current energy state, how you're feeling, as well as your condition of health. You're welcome to share the Yin Yoga practice with your healthcare practitioner or any other therapist that you may be working with to see how you feel it would suit you. And you're also welcome to just watch this video or press pause at any time and come back to it later. And the Yin Yoga practice does use props for assistance, safety, creating support, making poses more effective. So along with your yoga mat, you may want to use for today's practice a blanket, a strap or a belt, and some yoga blocks. When you're ready, we'll begin in a seated upright position. And we'll begin by bringing awareness to your inhales and exhales. We begin to invoke this yin quality with an easeful breath. Inviting calmness into the sound of breath. Notice the stillness between the inhales and exhales. Allow this breath to pacify the mind and facilitate a meditative state that will carry us through the entire practice. Deep, slow breaths help us to relax. Try not to control it, but just observe and accept the breath exactly as it is. Coming to our first posture, a neck release. Taking your chin to the chest and then rolling the head up to the right side. Taking the right ear towards the right shoulder, giving a nod, just seeing where you want to leave the head. Maybe crawling the left fingertips away from you to create length. Maybe using your right hand as a guide to intensify that stretch, just pulling upwards on the side of the face, around the temple. So there are 3 principles of yin. First, we find the appropriate level of depth for ourselves within the pose, without pushing too far or risking injury. And second, we resolve to be still, observing the posture. And lastly, we hold for time. So rather than just holding for a few breaths, we hold each pose for about 2 minutes in this class. Keep with that calm and relaxed breathing, slow and deep. Slowly coming to the other side mindfully, take the hand to the underside of the head, drawing the chin back to the chest. You can walk your fingertips back in towards the body. Just make U shapes with the chin from side to side. Just letting everything neutralize. And taking the head to the other side, again intensifying that stretch or creating more length by walking the opposite fingertips away, using the left hand to guide the stretch on the top of the head. And we're not pushing down on the head, we're more pulling and creating length upward. We don't want to be chasing any sort of sensation. So being gentle with yourself. Remember, the neck is the cervical portion of the spine. And sometimes we carry our tension here. It's also home to vital organs like the trachea for respiration, the esophagus for digestion, the larynx, the vocal cords. So release tension around these areas, really open up their energetic pathways. Just breathe through the release. Just a few more breaths on this side. And slowly bringing yourself back down. Hand comes to the underside of the chin for guidance. Hands come to the legs and rock your head from side to side. If it feels good, maybe you can take your heads all the way back in a full circle, stretching out the anterior portion of the neck. And maybe going the other direction as well. And give the shoulders a roll. For our next posture, arch your arms. You may want to switch your legs here, but we're going to be going in with a strap. So grabbing your strap and tossing it over the right shoulder, reach your right elbow up, and then sweep the left hand behind you to grab on to the bottom of that strap. Walk your hands towards each other. As much as feels good, you want to make sure your spine stays upright. That lower elbow stays reaching down, the top elbow reaches up. Maybe you can release the strap and interlace your fingers, but just make sure that it's not compromising your shoulder joints, your spinal column. If you need to, just hold that tension in the strap and resolve to be still. So the shoulder is a ball and socket joint with a broad range of motion. It can be challenging to keep the stillness here. And there can be a lot of sensation. You don't need to suffer through pain or intense tingling either. If you need to release the strap, then do it. Come out if you need to. Wherever you are, you're practicing acceptance. Not trying to push too far, too fast. Just a few more breaths on this side. Slowly coming out, you can release the strap and just let your arms come out as they'd like to. Then come down to the sides. And give the shoulders a roll up towards the ears, back and down. Nice big circles. And going to the other side, take the strap in your left hand, tossing it over the left shoulder. Reach the right arm back. Walk the hands together between the shoulder blades, just as close as you can get. Breathe, reach up through the left elbow, down through the right. And try and silence the mind here through this area of discomfort. Use a steady breath to calm the mind. And notice thoughts or emotions that come up when the body feels this resistance. Try and use this time to train yourself to be less reactive to the sensations. And a few more breaths here. And slowly let your arms come out. And again, roll the shoulders, just letting those areas become mobile again. And our next posture, a seated twist. So extending your legs out, root down into your sitting bones under each buttock. If you're able to, draw your right foot in towards you, bending the right knee. Ground down into the sitting bones, and if it's accessible, you can draw that foot across the left leg. Inhale, reach the arms up, and as you exhale, twist towards your right side. So the upper left arm comes over the knee or the thigh. Breathe in, lengthening up through the spine, and as you exhale, you can draw into your twist, maybe gazing back. The right hand comes behind you for some support. Here we're fully rotating the spine, which houses the nervous system, so exercise caution, don't force anything. Notice how the pressure within you fluctuates with the breath. We can't belly breathe as much here, so breathe high up into the rib cage. Use the full capacity of the lung space as you breathe, and draw in through the navel center. Just a few more breaths, seeing how deep you want to go into this rotation. Coming out a little bit, unwinding a bit is always an option. See if you can stay with the practice. Slowly coming out, take an inhale and unwind, uncross the legs. Going to the other side, draw the left knee in, root down through the pelvis as your foundation, and then cross the leg over the right thigh if that's accessible. Inhale up and exhale into your twist. Wrap the outside of the right arm around the left knee or thigh. Walk the left fingertips behind you for some support. Gaze back as much as feels good. And notice your breath here in this shape. So once you've settled into your rotation, just allow yourself to be still in this posture, a spiral effect of the spine from the tailbone up the lower back, between the shoulders. Remember, the neck is also an extension of the spine, so gazing back as much as feels good. Really envision the spiral shape of your spinal column. Make sure you maintain support while softening whatever you can. You can relax your thighs, your shoulders, your jaw. There's always a little bit of yang in the yin, always a little bit of yin in the yang, just to keep that delicate balance. Slowly unwind, come back to center, uncross the legs, maybe give them a little shake. Our next posture, butterfly, opens up into the hips. So take the knees out to the side, draw the feet together, maybe holding onto the feet. Take an inhale, lengthening the spine, and then as you exhale, hinging the spine forward in one long line. Maybe walking the hands beyond the feet, if that's accessible. Keep lengthening up through the crown of the head. This is a nice release for the low back. It also stretches into the internal thigh or groin area. These are the hip adductors. They engage to hold the legs in toward the body. So allow them to relax and stretch out here. You may find as time goes on, you're sinking a little bit deeper into the pose. Maybe the hands walk further away from you. This is not the overall goal to get deeper and deeper, though. We really just want to find that appropriate level of depth. And then simply breathe within the posture. Make sure your knees are comfortable here. If you do need to extend them a little bit, you can take the feet away from the body. That's okay. A final breath here. And using the hands to walk the upper body back up. Draw the knees together. And maybe take your knees from side to side, kind of like these windshield wiper motions, back and forth, just letting the hips come back into their neutral place. Our next posture is a seated forward fold, caterpillar. So extend the legs, inhale the arms up, and as you exhale, fold the upper body towards the legs, the hands reach for the feet, the calves, the legs, whatever you can reach is good with the hands. If you need a little bit of padding underneath the knees to keep them bent, you can always roll up a mat. We're trying to find length here through the hamstrings, the backs of the legs. Let the kneecaps be soft. The upper body be heavy, remembering that you can access that deep core strength if you need to come out at any time. Feeling that extension through the body. Let the crown of the head reach towards the feet. Forward folds are very introspective postures. They create this concave shape of the body where we can retreat, listen to the breath, still our thoughts. Allow yourself to tune inward in this shape. Slowly coming out, walk the hands back up towards you as you lift the upper body, maybe roll the shoulders. For our next pose, you may want a blanket for your knees. Coming to a table position or all fours. The knees are underneath the hips, and then you walk the forearms forwards, relaxing the chest towards the floor. Maybe the forehead comes down to the mat. Trying to keep those hips aligned over top of the knees. You'll feel a deep stretch through the upper back. This area of the heart space is opened up. The shoulder girdle, the intercostals, in between the ribs. You can always walk the fingertips away from you to intensify this stretch through the upper back. If it's too much, just bring the elbows closer towards you. To intensify the stretch even more, you can even bring your forearms up onto blocks if you'd like, lifting the earth a little bit higher so that you can drop a little bit deeper. And again, we're not chasing intensity or chasing sensation. And with the pelvis gently inverted in this position, the intensity will build over time. Envision gravity working on the body. Allow all of the fluid, energy, and blood flow to channel back up to the heart, to the lungs, to renew and regenerate. Slowly coming out, you can walk the forearms back towards you, maybe bring the knees forward if that helps to get your body up. Coming back to that table, we'll just do some cat-cow flexion extension motions. So inhale, drawing the shoulders back, press the hips high, looking up. And as you exhale, round, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. So inhale to an extension, and exhale back to your flexion. Just mobilizing the spine, allowing everything to move and flesh out. In our next posture, you may want to remove your blanket and just come down onto the belly, placing your elbows underneath the shoulders, the forearms down, palms are pressing into the floor. Extend back through the legs and lift the heart forward. Sphinx Pose. So we're broad through the shoulders, the neck should feel free, the heart is drawing forward. Keep a little bit of action through the legs, the thighs, the glutes, the buttock to make sure that the base of the spine is supported, the low back is supported to accept this compression. Balancing yin and yang for a favorable back bend is the key here. We want to make sure we support the sacrum, the low back, keep that upper body broad and strong, even though we're finding a little bit of softness. Arms stay strong to lift the heart and lengthen the spine. And if you feel strong here in this posture, then you may want to lift to seal pose. So pressing into the palms, lifting the elbows. This intensifies that compression in the low back. If it's too much, just bring the elbows back down. Breathing up and down the spinal column here. Final breath here. And slowly coming out, just lower your elbows down to the floor. And then you can bring your hands together, making a little pillow for your face, taking one cheek down to the floor. You can rock the hips and the heels back and forth, kind of like you're wagging your tail, giving the spine a little release. And our next posture, you may want, again, that blanket for the knees, a little bit of pressure into the floor. So extend your left leg out to the side and kind of heel toe it up outside of the hands. We're coming to dragon pose, so it's similar to a low lunge. So for best support, we're usually stacking the joints, so the knee over the ankle, and then the back hip over the back knee. But if you feel like you can extend that back leg a little bit more, flex that front hip by bringing the hands down to the floor, or you can place them underneath blocks if it feels better to lift the upper body. Just find where you want to go. Make sure you're supporting the spine. The hips are level, but notice the difference between sides. So the hip in the front leg is flexed and the hip of the back leg is extended. And even through this difference, can you keep the mind calm? Dragon pose is given a fierce name for the intensity and endurance that it evokes, but try and remain zen here. If you feel that your hands could come to the floor, you can remove your blocks. Breathe deeply wherever you are. Relax your face. And slowly coming out, we're going to straighten that front leg and send the hips back. And take a couple of knee bends here as you kind of lunge forward and then extend back, slowly warming up to our next pose called Monkey Pose. You may know it as a half split. So just move yourself around and extend that front leg. You can bring blocks underneath the hands on either side of the leg. And then see how deep you want to go in the hips. You can walk the front foot forwards, tuck the back toes and extend the back knee back a little bit. Don't worry about getting your pelvis low to the ground as much as keeping yourself supported here. We don't need to be doing any sort of gymnastics here. That kind of flexibility is created over time. But maybe you're already there. But if you need the support, then make sure that you take it. And maybe removing your blocks if you feel that the hands could come to the floor. And try and relax your mind, melting away tension through your entire being. To safely come out of this, tuck your back toe and lift your back knee, kind of heel toeing that knee forward as you step it in. And bending into your front knee, coming back to that lunge. And we'll heel toe the foot back out to the side, reversing back to our table pose, all fours. And you can take a couple of those cat-cows again, flexing, extending the spine. Maybe take some hip circles. So taking your torso in circles. I always say imagine you have a paintbrush in your belly button and you're drawing circles on your mat. One way and the other way. And we'll get into the hips again on the other side. So take the right foot out to the side, walk it around, come to your lunge position, placing the foot outside the hands for your dragon pose on this side. So maybe shifting the hips forward to extend the back leg. Take your time here. Make sure you set yourself up well. Find that appropriate level of depth for you. Use the blocks underneath your hands if you need to. Notice the differences between one side and the other. Maybe you need to modify yourself differently. Maybe the sensations feel different. As long as you feel supported here, just observe what you are currently experiencing. Without judgment, notice the sensations. And with a sense of curiosity, what exactly is the sensation you're feeling? What is it telling you? Over time, you may find you're settling into the posture, removing the supports, the props that you had, the blocks. Slowly coming out, you're going to walk your hands back as you straighten that front leg. And again, invite some movement. You can even use your blocks underneath the hands. As you inhale forward to a lunge, and exhale, send the hips back. Just moving back and forth to let everything rejuvenate into the hip joints, the knees, the legs. And coming to your monkey or half split, extending the right leg forward, the left leg back. So again, the safest way we can prop ourselves is stacking the joints. So make sure that the hands are coming underneath the shoulders for support for the upper body. Try and keep the hips level. Maybe removing your blocks if you feel like you can sink deeper into the pose. Breathe into the stretch. Imagine a light filling your body as you breathe in, opening the body up. Slowly coming out, tuck that back toe to kind of step that back knee forward, and then drawing that front foot in by bending the knee. Come back to your low lunge, and then you can heel toe the foot out to the side, coming back to your table all fours, and just bringing some mobility into the body with your cat-cows. Inhaling to a back bend, exhaling to round and flex the spine forward. Again, you can take those hip circles if it feels good. This works into the knees and the shoulders as well. And we'll take child's pose. So take the knees wide, toes together, walk the hands forward, relax the chest towards the floor. Maybe the forehead comes down to the floor. Finding length through the body. Surrender to the earth. Feel the mat beneath you. Let the muscles relax on your bones. Ground yourself here. Just like forward folds, child's pose creates this concave space for us to tune in. So keeping that inner curiosity, listen to your breath. Feel the synergy within you, the subtle movements within the pelvis. Let yourself be here. And slowly bring yourself out, walking the hands back towards you as you lift the body. Our next pose will utilize the blocks for a deep back bend and heart opener. So place the top block at the highest setting for your head and another block at about its middle setting or even lower for the rib cage. And then you'll slide down on the side. You can use your forearms for support and then place that middle block just below the shoulder blades to support the back of the rib cage. And you can use your hands to guide your head down to that top block. Take time and find a place for those blocks to be that feels supportive. Maybe extend your legs, or you can keep the feet grounded if that's more stabilizing for you. Maybe you want to go into that butterfly shape with the legs, drawing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees open up. To open the chest more, you take the arms further away from the midline. All of the postures we've done so far have opened up the body in some way, but I find this one really opens up areas we often activate or contract when we're sitting at a desk or driving. So rather than flexing forward, here the spine extends. The pectoralis muscles of the chest and the abdominals get a nice release. So counter to what we often do in some of our activities. Just allow yourself to breathe and remain at ease. And you may find that you can bring that top block underneath the head a little bit lower to lift the rib cage even higher. Most of the sensation should be felt through the rib cage, through the chest, the front of the body. The limbs are relaxed and heavy. We'll come out of this mindfully, so drawing the hands back in first, and the feet to the floor, bending the knees, make sure your feet feel grounded and supported, and then bring your hands to either side of the head, tucking the chin, kind of like a gentle crunch, feeling that core strength activate, and then you can bring your forearm back down to the floor and roll off of the block onto one side. You can place one block aside. For our next pose, bridge pose, we'll be using just one block. So bring the spine down to the floor, the feet down, ground the shoulders, the hips. Find a neutral place for the spine to be against the floor, against your mat. And taking that block in your hand, press into the feet and lift the pelvis, lift the hips right off the floor. Place that block just underneath the low back, just behind the hips. So you can feel those protuberances through the front of the body, and it's just aligning somewhere behind that. Allow the hands to come to the floor. The low back should feel supported here. Just some gentle pressure on the sacrum, the flat spot above the tailbone, but most of the weight is coming into the shoulders and the feet. You should feel calm here as you elevate the pelvic organs. Make sure your chin stays lifting towards the sky to keep your neck free. Allow your inhales to fill your body. Breathe into the heart space. Let the breath caress your heart, slowly bringing that heart rate back down from a busy day. This pose It might be advanced. If you feel too much pressure through the low back, then you can just stay in bridge. If you'd like to come to waterfall, you can bend your knees and lift your heels up and then extend through the legs, extend up through the heels. Find your center of gravity. Let the legs feel like balloons floating upward. Lots of pressure here released from the feet. Maybe you feel gravity pulling that stagnant fluid and energy from your feet down the legs, back towards the pelvis, the heart, the lungs. Bringing the feet down to the floor, you can press the hips up and remove that block. Let the sacrum, that low back, settle into the floor, and then come back to your waterfall pose. If you'd like, extending your legs upward again. It can feel nice to put your feet up at the end of a practice. Maybe flexing your ankles, pointing your toes, taking your feet in circles. Bend your knees, hug them in towards the body. We're slowly making our way to our final meditation, Shavasana. So any movements that feel good, working into any other areas to release tension, maybe taking those windshield wiper knees from side to side again. Just finding a neutral place for the spine, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, the elbows. Shavasana is traditionally taken in corpse pose, lying flat on your back, but if something feels better for you, lying on your side or seated, then certainly take that. Here we want the least amount of physical activity. We let go of our physical self. We tackle the mind, the inner self. So relax your feet, your legs. Let go of your hips. Let your shoulders melt down, soften your belly. Can you relax your digestion, your internal organs? Notice the subtle movement of the breath. Maybe you can feel your heartbeat. Relax your face, your forehead. Release your jaw, part your lips. Let go of your senses, nothing to see, hear, say. Let go of your entire body. It has nothing to do. Tune in to your mind. Try and bring stillness here, more silence. Like recharging our mental battery, give the mind a chance to restore. And slowly begin to bring your awareness back, taking deeper breaths. Fill your body, maybe wiggle your fingers, your toes, roll your wrists, your ankles, bend your knees, your elbows. Small movements, connecting back. And when you're ready, just roll over onto your side. When you feel stable and grounded, you can press yourself up. Returning to a seated posture when you're ready, take a final moment of gratitude for the ancient traditions that have shaped our practice, our physical abilities and mental and emotional well-being, and thank you for practicing along with me. Namaste.